Or turn it around, how can we help organizations to find the right people out there that want to work for them, that feel connected to purpose, brand, etc. And in all of that, how can we put people first? How can we become people-centric? And in the meantime, we've had more than 20 events, and we talk here about full talent sprint journeys, as well as meetups, as well as other formats that we have tested out over the last 12 to 16 months. We have had more than 200 people participating in those events, either in the sprints or in other words. And actually, we already delivered some client success. We feel that we can offer something and that we can help organizations to recruit differently. And in that different approach that we offer to organizations, we actually embed design sprint principles that Sabrina will share in a second, and facilitation styles. Nowadays, but that was already our intent, we deliver it fully virtually. So it's not about organizing a sprint workshop on location, which is all possible, but we started to try it out from the beginning already in the virtual space. Never to know that COVID would impact us all at this moment so much. And we think we have found an approach where not only the hiring organization, the company is benefiting of this approach, but also the individual participating in it, the career seeker, the job seeker. We think we have found now, let's say, a kind of a recipe where the human perspective is put centrally, where we can actually activate the purpose of as well the candidate, as well as the hiring organization. And in that way, not only unlock the potential of the individual, which always drove me in my career ambitions, but just like Sabrina also expressed it from her side, it's not only about the designers, it's also about the organizations, unlock their potential by creating these unique experiences. So we brought together design sprinting and talent acquisition.
And so we start, for example, here with expert interviews, with how might we's, with the map. But now maybe you ask yourself, because the talent sprint is also a bit a condensed version, how can that work? Because you need time for that. But for example, with the map, which we find very important, we create sometimes already prepared version. And also if you have like difficult exercises, because the map is perceived as a difficult exercise, and therefore you can also see how people behave here, how they articulate, how they reflect, how they ask, how they help others as well. So that's just a little example. And then we create the focus, and then we continue with, let's say, the creation part. There we also have these lightning demos. We have crazy eights and a concept sketching. Usually we do that, we give that as a small homework. And then we start doing already storyboarding. Sometimes you saw that it's in the first part, but sometimes we start storyboarding and we continue kind of storyboarding. So the prototype sometimes is just, let's say, more elaborated storyboard. It can be adapted to whatever the company needs or what the talents are, have as special skills. So if we have designers, we make a little bit more space for the, let's say, for the creative part. If we have, let's say, salespeople, we have more the part where they reflect, where they create concepts more in the part, how do you approach sales? And then storytelling is also kind of how do you then storytell and make the user interviews. So we also can create this, also if we have like 10 people, we create a stage where they can, as a group, already start doing an interview and get feedback. And then you can also, again, reflect on the feedback. So let's say this is the process part. This is the part where the design sprint is coming into, where I use the design sprint process for the talent sprint. Then on the other hand side, it's about the people. So in the talent sprint, it's not actually, the first goal is not we solve a big problem for a company or we create a new product. It's about the people in this environment, in the workshop. So we need, let's say, some facilitation to create a safe environment, to create trust. So there we start with introduction, for example, with purpose. So it's not only an introduction, where are you located, and we make a fun exercise, but it goes a bit deeper. And it's also about facilitate reflections. And then it's about telling stories about yourself, setting you on stage, but it's in a nice way. So it's like a positive pressure we put on the people, but it's all in a safe space. And then it's also about presenting the company in a more personal way. So there are always people from the hiring organization, but it's not that they present their company, let's say, in a very corporate way, but it's about their personal experience, about their personal perspective on the company. So it's about making the people excited for each other. And then it's also giving feedback in the end, receiving feedback. And that's a very rewarding exercise. And in the end, it's also about getting career-related feedback. So the hiring organization is also giving to each of the people a qualitative, let's say, career-related feedback. So each one, also if you don't want to work with this company, also if the company doesn't want to work with you, but it's very rewarding because you get feedback, how you perform, about your reflections, what you have to give, your purpose, your person, how you present yourself in this environment. You get feedback for yourself, and that helps for your next step, for your career development as well. So
what's important to understand, I think, and that's the type of sensation that we're trying to activate, is that if you feel trusted, you start telling or sharing stories in a different way. And that means you can engage with even your team members at your own work at a different level. And if you trust each other, you can really do great things together. And the concept that we're trying to activate is by having people work together and achieve something together, even in that notion of the 10 hours that Sabrina was just referring to, that you can feel proud of that there's team spirit being developed, and that conversations start to flow between the participants as well as representation from the hiring organization. So again, here, it's not about the design sprint outcome. It's about that journey that we offer, where people can open up because they feel in a more trusted environment. So again, here, we use feedback loops and feedback exercises to engage with the hiring organization and vice versa, the hiring organization with the talent. But we actually also have the participants give feedback to each other. What do I like about you, Jose or Katja, when you presented yourself on stage, or when you presented the concept that we just developed? Or I like the way you storytell, Emmanuel. I think you could really be part of ... And even if the job is not yours or the company is not yours, you get so much feedback that you can carry forward in your career search, but also the other way around. The company gets very much feedback on how they present themselves as individuals and how maybe they need to present themselves in a different way in the next round.